Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about how construction projects make money. This is a super common question I get. It's also something that I was really curious about when I first started in the industry. And so let's go ahead and get started. So here on the screen, I have a sample estimate for a small building. It could be let's say, a small warehouse building. It's only $351,000, but that's the total cost. And so when we look at this, we need to consider a couple main aspects. First is that we have our general conditions, which is the cost of management at $125,000. Next, we have the body of our estimate, which is the cost of construction, um, and then we have our markups and our fees. Um, and You may be curious about this tab here called markups. It's quite literally just our markups, and then we're dragging this over from that tab to calculate what our BRGL contingency and fee is. And so just to kind of give it away early on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all these cells. And so everything that I've got highlighted is a cost of construction. And so everything that's highlighted is something that we're going to spend money on. And then at the bottom here, the fee, that's what we're charging the owner in order to make a profit on this project. And so as we go through this, we're gonna, um, yeah, I guess we'll just go through this. So first thing to consider, cost of management, which is our general conditions. It's going to cost $125,000 for our project manager and maybe a project engineer, maybe a pre-con manager to manage this project, um, coordinate with subcontractors, meet with the owner, and give updates, help bring the project in under budget and on time and under schedule. Next, we have the body of our estimate, which is the cost of construction, as we just talked about. And so, what these costs mean really is that this is what it costs us um, directly for this service. And so, for existing conditions, this is probably demolition. Let's say that the subcontractor we hired is going to charge us about $10,000 to demolish an existing building. um, we're going to charge that directly to the owner. And if they pay us that $10,000, we've got to pay it right back to the subcontractor, and we break even. And so there's not a whole lot of money within the body of the estimate to be made. And so unless you've got a really good project manager, and that's where project management comes in, is they're going to try to figure out how to, one, keep this under budget. And so our masonry is $20,000. The project manager's job is to make sure that masonry only spends $20,000 on their scope. If they can figure out how to spend $18,000 or $19,000 and make $2,000 extra, perfect. That's awesome. That's what we want. But really, the project manager is going to look at that $20,000 and not try to spend over that amount. Here, if we go to our markups and fees, these get a little bit confusing. The only markup that is making us money is the fee. And so we look at this first one, BRGL, which stands for Builder's Risk and General Liability. That's just an insurance. We have to charge 1.35% to the subtotal in order to essentially have our insurance covered for the project. And so sometimes projects will require different types of insurance, maybe a subcontractor default insurance, maybe some bonding. But this is a cost to us that we have to pay. Now, the contingency is a little bit different. Contingency is kind of a fund set aside in case things go wrong. And so, going back to existing conditions, $10,000, let's say that we're demolishing an existing building and we find asbestos within the building. It's going to cost an additional $5,000 to remove. Um, the owner likely will not pay for that. And so we've got to take it out of our contingency. And so we've got a budget for $9,600. We're going to take $5,000 out of that to existing conditions, and hopefully have that scope covered. Now, sometimes owners won't let you keep the contingency. And so if we build a project just beautifully and perfectly and nothing goes wrong, um, then nothing goes wrong, and we don't get to spend that 3% on uh, contingency, and so that $9,600 goes away. Um, and so, kind of the last thing to look at. So, if you are a project manager or a project engineer, um, part of your job is to look at this fee, this 5%, $16,000, and make sure that that is kept safe. And so going back to our contingency, if we end up needing to spend more than $9,000, and it's stuff that the owner doesn't pay for, then that gets taken out of our fee. And so let's say that we find a $20,000 item that we have to pay for. We're going to take this entire contingency, $9,000, and then we're going to find $10,400 out of our fee to cover that $20,000 that we've got to pay for. So that's it in a nutshell. It all comes down to fee. Hopefully, nothing else is taken out of the rest of construction, and hopefully you can find items within your construction costs to make a little bit more money. But really, it's your fee, and that's all I've got today. Thank you so much.